By move 19, Garry Kasparov reaches out his hand and tips over the king. The world's greatest chess mind resigns. After just 19 moves, the game ended. The shortest game of the entire 6-match series. For the first time in history, the smartest human on Earth was second best. The room was silent. The machine just calculated. And it had won. It was all logic. Let us explore what really happened when a machine played against a genius.
Hello and welcome. Imagine this. You are the best in the world at something and you have spent your entire life mastering a game. And then one day, a metal box or maybe a machine walks into the room and beats you at your own art. And that is exactly what happened in 1997. On May 11th, 1997, New York City, the world held its breath. Because on that day, humanity lost something we thought could never be taken from us. And what we lost was our claim to be the ultimate thinking machines. Garry Kasparov, the greatest chess player who ever lived, sat across from a machine called Deep Blue, and when he resigned after just 19 moves, it wasn't just a game that ended, it was an era. Welcome to AI versus Humans, the Unfolding Saga. This is episode 1 of the mini-series AI versus Humans called Checkmate, the day intelligence changed forever. So what you are about to witness today isn't just a story about chess. This is the moment where we realized that the future had arrived. Over the next 5 episodes, I am going to take you through the exact moments when artificial intelligence didn't just match human ability, but it shattered it. When machines didn't just learn the games, they rewrote the rules. And here is what's new, which I'm going to tell you. With each breakthrough, each victory, each impossible move, it unlocked abilities that now are running on your phone, your car, and maybe your entire life. So buckle up, because this journey, it's going to blow your mind. This episode 1 has what I can say as 3 pillars. One ancient game called chess, humanity's oldest test of strategic thinking. Like for over 1,500 years, this has been our arena to prove intelligence. Then we have one human legend, Garry Kasparov, the greatest chess mind who ever lived. Not just good, but he was what I can say as the greatest. One AI breakthrough, Deep Blue, the machine that changed the rules forever. And all of it comes down to one question, the question that we define our entire future. Can a machine actually outthink us? Not just calculate faster, but outthink us. It was on May 11th, 1997, we got our answer. Let's look at the game. It was Kasparov versus Deep Blue. Now, before we get to that moment, you need to understand the battlefield, because chess, this is where our story unfolds on 64 squares with rules that haven't changed in the entire history of mankind. Let me show you why this game is so special, why it became the ultimate test between man and machine. Chess, an 8x8 grid, 64 squares, 6 different types of pieces, rules you could teach a child in 20 minutes. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. Chess is like a war on a mini board. Each piece moves differently. Every single move you make, it changes the entire universe of the game. Now, the goal is simple. Trap the enemy king so he can't escape, and checkmate. And there you go, game over. But getting there, that requires a depth of strategic thinking that has fascinated humanity for over 1,500 years. And the numbers will really astonish you. Let me blow your mind for a second. Scientists estimates that there are about 10 to the power 80 atoms in the entire universe. That's like 1 with 80 zeros after it. Considering every atom in every star, every planet, every grain of sand, and even every molecule of water in every ocean around the world, or maybe different worlds we have ever discovered, the number of possible chess games are more than that. That is 10 to the power 120. That means for every single atom in a universe, there are like 10 billion trillion different chess possible games. And I repeat, there are 10 billion trillion different chess possible games. Now, listen to this very carefully. Like if I want to give you the scale, imagine you start playing chess at the moment of Big Bang, like when the world started, or maybe the creation of universe. Play a completely different game every nanosecond for 14 billion years. and you won't even scratch the surface of chess, not even close. That's how complex chess has been until now. This is what we are asking a machine to master. This is the battlefield we chose. Now, let me make this even more real for you. Let's look at what happens as a chess game progresses. Now, after just one ply, like ply in a chess is a half move. Like when I move a piece, that is called a ply. That's one move by white or black. Now, there are 20 possible positions. Now, after two plies, white moves, then black moves. There are 400 possibilities. After four, there are 1,97,281. And here's where it gets really insane. After 10 plies, that is just after 5 moves by white and 5 moves by black, 10 moves in total, the number is, what is it? Let me read it out for you. Let me try. It is 69,352,859,712,417 possible different games. I repeat, approximately 69 trillions possibilities after just 10 moves. Mind baffling, right? So when a computer sits down to play chess, it's not just choosing between few options. It's staring into an exploding universe of possibilities where every single choice branches into millions more. No human brain could ever calculate it. We will go insane trying that. So how did humans get so good at the chess? How did we dominate for such a long period, say 1500 years? That is where our hero enters the story. Garry Kasparov, born in Baku, Azerbaijan, 1963, Grandmaster at 17, youngest world champion at 22, ranked world number one for 20 consecutive years, that is 1985 to 2005, 20 years at absolute pinnacle of chess. 2 entire decades, this man stood at the top of chess world and he dared anyone to challenge his throne. Made all other grandmasters sweat before he even played a single move on chessboard. And here's what really separated Kasparov from every other human grandmasters. He could play, like it is documented that he could play 20 games simultaneously blindfolded without seeing a single board, just holding 20 entire chess games in his mind at once, remembering every position, every piece, every possibility. And that is why scientists studied his brain. They found something they called high neural efficiency. He wasn't just any other chess player. He was a human evolution pushed to its absolute limit. He was at the peak, and that is who Deep Blue had to beat. Kasparov once said he could feel when a move was right. Like actually feel it, not calculate it, not logic it out, not work through possibilities. After decades of playing, studying, living and breathing chess, Kasparov had developed what he called sixth sense. The right move, the winning path for himself. And this wasn't mathematics, this wasn't computation, it was an art. This was human genius at its very best. Now, I thought of presenting you with an image that would capture what Garry Kasparov is. That's Kasparov for you. He was one different level above everyone else, like above all grandmasters. Now, they could make a level named after him itself, like Kasparov level. Then came IBM's Deep Blue, built in the laboratories of IBM, not as a toy, not as an experiment, but as a statement, a declaration, a challenge to human supremacy. A machine that could analyze faster than any human could ever calculate or even imagine. And what made Deep Blue terrifying was sheer power it brought to the board. Let me show you what I mean. Deep Blue, the version 1997, let me give you the specifications of it. 200 million positions analyzed per second, not per minute, not per hour, but per second. 32 processors working in parallel, all focused on one thing, destroying human chess players. 480 specialized chess chips, hardware designed for one purpose, to calculate chess faster than anything or any machine that could ever do. But it wasn't just raw power, I must say. It had knowledge. Every game, every strategy, 4,000 opening positions were analyzed. Now, when you sat down across Deep Blue, you weren't just playing a computer. You were playing against every grandmaster who ever lived all at once. Now, this was humanity's worst nightmare, a machine that never got tired, never made mistakes, and never ever stopped calculating. Let's pause on that number for a second. 200 million positions per second. The time you take to blink is that time Deep Blue has already evaluated 70 million chess positions. 70 million. In the time it takes Kasparov to look at the board, take a breath, and even start thinking, Deep Blue has already explored every possible game for maybe, say, 8 to 10 moves ahead. Complete analysis of it, every variation possible. And that is what I call as brute force. And that's what Kasparov had to face. Now, let me give a simple analogy about Kasparov and Deep Blue's approach. I want to make absolutely sure you understand the fundamental difference between how Kasparov and Deep Blue approach chess, because this difference, it's everything. This is the analogy that will make the concept crystal clear. Imagine Kasparov as a genius chef. He can taste a dish, instantly know what's missing. A pinch of salt, or maybe it needs more spices. He doesn't need to analyze every molecule or every atom. He doesn't need to run tests. He just knows by intuition, experience, and mastery. But Deep Blue, on the other hand, is an AI that analyzes every single molecule in every possible combinations in milliseconds. It doesn't taste anything. It doesn't feel anything. It just calculates. This combination of molecules produces optimal flavor. That's pure data, pure logic. Hope you can understand the difference and context here. One relies on intuition and pattern recognition built over decades of playing the game. The other relies on brute force, calculation with zero fatigue, zero doubt, and zero emotion. Kasparov gets tired, he gets stressed, he feels pressure, makes mistakes when he is exhausted or maybe rattled. Deep Blue, it is the same machine for the first hour and the same even after 10 hours of play. Now, both of them first faced off in 1996. Kasparov won 4-2. Now, that is when IBM went back to the lab, they upgraded the hardware, they improved the software, they made it faster, stronger, and better. And in May 1997, they came back for revenge. It was in New York, 6 games. The prize money was $1.1 million. But this wasn't about money. This was bigger than that. This was about whether machines could truly think or a claim to intelligence. The world watched, millions tuned in, and this was humanity's greatest test against the machine. Game 1, Kasparov won. It was 1-0. And everyone thought Kasparov would win as like in 1996. And then came Game 2 and everything changed. Game 2, Kasparov is playing black. At the middle of the game, the position is complex, tense, balanced, both sides aiming for advantage. And then Deep Blue makes a move. Not brilliant or not any spectacular move, quiet move, a subtle move. And Garry Kasparov freezes. He stares at the board. Minutes pass, and for the first time in his career, he looks unsettled and shaken. Now later, he described that it played like a human. He could feel it thinking. The greatest chess mind in human history didn't feel like he was playing a calculator anymore. Felt like he was playing another grandmaster. And for the first time, Kasparov felt outmatched or maybe like a bit rattled. Now let me show you the exact moves that broke Kasparov's mind. And these were the 2 moves by Deep Blue in game 2. 36, A takes B5, and 37, move 37, bishop E4. Now move 36, it was Deep Blue's turn. The position is complex. There's a pawn on B6, undefended, ready to be captured. Now, every chess program in the world would make the same move. 36, Queen B6. Take the pawn, it's obvious move, the computer move. But Deep Blue played the move 36, A captures B5, not taking the pawn which the queen had meant to, but playing a positional move, a strategic move, a move that thinks 10 steps ahead. Instead of grabbing immediate gain, and then it was bishop E4, quite subtle and deadly, a move that completely shut down Kasparov's counterplay. The greatest chess player who ever lived was rattled. And why was the shock and the controversy? Because Kasparov had set a trap. Deep Blue didn't take the bait. Instead, it played a 36A takes B5, removing a dangerous pawn that was the central or the key idea of entire Kasparov's counterattacking plan. First, it destroyed the foundation of the trap. Then, it played bishop e4 on the 37th move, killing Kasparov's only remaining plan, and it shut the doors. And this was brute force calculation. This was understanding, this was strategy, this was thinking. And Kasparov couldn't accept it. He accused IBM of cheating. He said there must be a grandmaster somewhere in the room helping Deep Blue, feeding some moves. He said it was impossible for a computer to play like this. But IBM denied everything. They said Deep Blue, it was pure algorithm, pure machine. But Kasparov never believed them. To this day, some people still don't, but these two moves became the most controversial, most analyzed, and most debated moves in the entire chess history. And that destroyed Kasparov's confidence. Game 2, Deep Blue wins, and the champion was shaken. The match continued. Game 3, draw. Game 4, draw. Game 5, draw. And now the scoreline read Deep Blue 2.5, Kasparov 2.5. Everything came down to Game 6. It was on May 11th, 1997. Kasparov is playing passively, defensively here. Deep Blue plays a move that was another brilliant move that was documented, sacrificing a knight on move 8. Kasparov never recovered from this stunning move, and by move 19, Kasparov reaches out his hand and tips over the king. Resignation after 19 moves, the shortest game of the entire 6-match series. Kasparov sat there, staring at the board, shock and disbelief. Later, he said, it felt like loss for all of humanity. The king had fallen and the age of human supremacy in chess was over. Now, let me show you two controversial moves that I talked about, the 36th and 37th, live in Game 2 and 8th move in Game 6. If anyone of you is a chess fan, you can pause, visit the website and see the move, like a move by move, and analyze the game. Like all credits to this website for brilliantly documenting each move. Let me take you there. Now this is Game 1, now this is Game 2. Now this is the 35th move, right? Now see, look at the board here. Now what everyone thought was, even Kasparov thought was, queen here, it goes to b6 and captures this pawn. But what Deep Blue did was this 36th move, it took out this pawn. Then Kasparov took this pawn, and in 37th move, bishop to e4. Now this is where the entire plan of Kasparov was foiled by Deep Blue. And let me show you another move in Game 6, that is the 8th move. Now after the 7th position, the board looked somewhat like this. And the 8th move was knight capturing e6, like this move. Now Deep Blue actually sacrificed this knight for an advantage. And after 19 moves, Kasparov resigned, right? So the final score, Deep Blue 3.5, Kasparov 2.5. The machine had won. Now, if you want to watch the entire match, interviews and real match footages, you can watch this documentary called Game Over. It's available on YouTube, I think. But the story doesn't end here. Now, see, what did the AI unlock? Or what did Deep Blue unlock? Well, Deep Blue's victory wasn't just about chess. It wasn't about beating Kasparov. It was proving something fundamental about artificial intelligence. Now, Deep Blue unlocked abilities, specific superhuman abilities, that went on to transform our entire world. This victory was the first domino, the first big breakthrough in the chain of breakthroughs that would lead us to where we are today. And over the next episodes, you're going to see how each breakthrough unlocked new abilities, new possibilities, new levels of intelligence. But first, let's talk about what Deep Blue specifically unlocked. Deep Blue proved these 3 abilities were possible. 3 things that would change everything. And where are these 3 abilities are used in today's world? Now today, Deep Blue's legacy is everywhere. Like designing computer chips, the processor in your phones that has billions of transistors that need to be perfectly arranged and optimized. And how do engineers do it? With AI algorithms that brute force their way to millions of possible configurations to find an optimal design. Thanks to Deep Blue for that. Then optimizing delivery routes, like you can imagine Amazon or Flipkart needs to deliver millions and millions of packages in a more efficient way possible. Now they use algorithms explore billions of possible routes, find the optimal path through complexity. That's Deep Blue's approach. And also in financial simulations, investment firms test millions of scenarios in microseconds. Cold calculations, zero emotions, zero bias, pure logic, Deep Blue's legacy. Now, drug discovery also, scientists now can test millions of molecular combinations virtually without even stepping into the lab, finding new medicines that used to take decades. So Deep Blue's victory over Kasparov wasn't just about chess. It was proof of concept. It showed us if machines can brute force their way through chess, they can brute force their way through anything with rules and clear objective. Now here's the thing about Deep Blue. Deep Blue didn't actually understand chess, and after this defeat, many of the researchers didn't sleep. Like they were wondering, all it did was check more possibilities than any human could ever check. It was the world's most powerful calculator. Now, if you remove those 480 specialized chips, Deep Blue was nothing. People thought machines or AI, they would never be creative. And this belief lasted for 19 years until on March 13, 2016 in South Korea in a game called Go, a move that would shatter everything which the people believed for 19 years and we thought we knew about artificial intelligence. AlphaGo versus Lee Sedol, we'll explore a new breakthrough that AI achieved after logic through the game of Go, which was 3,000 years old, invented in China. A game so complex that made chess look very, very simple, or should I say like tic-tac-toe. So let's meet in episode 2. Thank you.